the Hanji Culture Festival. A scholarship trust pays it forward. 50 years since Korean nurses were dispatched to Germany. Korean Air Force's Black Eagles steals the spotlight. Teaching in Harlem, Korean style. Hello, welcome to Going Global. I'm your host, Jung Se-mi. In China, a mother has been paying tribute to the memory of her deceased son. Yi Jifeng is said to have planted more than 2 million trees for the past 12 years as part of fulfilling her late son Yang Ridge's wishes. Yang passed away in May 2000 in a car accident while studying in Japan. And according to Yi, he told her that after graduating from college, he wanted to plant a forest in China. Yi and her nonprofit organization Green Life have succeeded in planting 1.1 million trees in the Tamanchaga Desert and creating a forest about 6.6 square kilometers big. Moreover, about 85% of the trees are said to have survived to this date. This is a truly inspiring story of grief turned to selflessness. And now, let's start with our first story of today. What would clothes look like if they were made out of paper? Hanji, or Korean traditional paper, can be used to make actual wearable clothes from dresses to hats, and such clothes were featured in a large-scale event in Sydney for the first time. Let's take a closer look.
This model is dressed in a snow-white dress. The landscape that unfolds on her dress shows the beauty of Korea. Colorful floral decorations add a stylish touch. Everything shown here is made of Hanji, or Korean traditional paper.
Oh, it was incredible, and I'd love to know more about how they were made.
일반 종이는 구겨지면 못 쓰지만 한지는 또 구겨지면 또 구겨지는 그런 또 느낌의 또 새로운 또 그런 창조가 또 되거든요. 그래서 더 활용 범위가 더 넓고요.
The Korean Cultural Center in Sydney, Australia invited a Korea-based Hanji organization and held the Hanji Culture Festival. This organization has promoted Hanji all over the world for the past 10 years, and this was the first time it came to Australia. Other than fashion shows, there were small art workshops and exhibitions that let visitors experience Hanji firsthand.
옷도 만들고 우리가 공예품도 만들고 실제 한국인의 5,000년 생활 속에서 한지라는 게 같이 생활을 해오고 호흡을 해왔다는 걸 보여주려고 왔습니다.
Australia has witnessed bits and pieces of Korean pop culture through K-pop or K-drama, but there hasn't been an opportunity to meet traditional culture like Hanji. This festival successfully conveyed the versatility and charms of Hanji.
이걸 발판으로 해서 호주 사회에 정말 한국 종이의 우수성, 매력 그런 것들을 좀 충분히 알릴 수 있는 좋은 출발점이 될 거라고 기대하고 있습니다.
The Korean Cultural Center plans to arrange collaborations with local paperworks groups to further promote Hanji.
Moving on to our next story. Many Korean associations abroad provide young Korean expatriates scholarships or other means to study. In New Zealand, former students who received scholarships in the past have decided to form a scholarship foundation themselves. Let's find out more.
This is Shin Dong-uk, who works at a leading software developer in New Zealand. At first glance, he's an everyday office worker, but he's a prominent member of the Korean Expat Society. He's the founder and director of New Zealand's sole nonprofit Korean Scholarship Trust.
어머니와 전화 통화를 하다가 그런 얘기를 하시더라고요, 저한테. 이제 사회생활도 어느 정도 했고 또 사는데 별 부족함이 없으니 네가 사회에 받은 것을 이제 돌려주는 삶을 사는 것이 어떻겠냐.
Shin's first encounter with scholarships was in 1999. In 1999, car mechanic Kim Jin-sup started a scholarship fund after hearing that a Korean school student was one of the highest ranking students in his school.
한국에 가 외국에 와서 1등 졸업을 한다는 건 정말 쉬운 일이 아닌데 고맙기도 하고 내 자식 같기도 하고.
Kim donated $80,000 to about 70 Korean students out of his own pocket until 2013. However, following his retirement, the scholarship couldn't be continued. Upon catching word of his news, a number of expatriates came together to create another Korean scholarship fund. 4 recipients of Kim's scholarship created the fund out of their own pockets and established the nonprofit Korean Scholarship Trust. Shin, one of the founders, was the first ever recipient of Kim's scholarship.
해외에 사는 한국인으로서의 마음가짐이라든지 이런 것들을 한번 새롭게 생각해 볼 수 있는 그런 기회를 제공해 주는 그런 장학금이라고 생각이 됩니다.
On February 5th, the Korean Scholarship Trust held an award ceremony. Unlike previous years, scholarships were awarded to not only those with excellent academic records, but also to those who have distinguished themselves in the arts or society.
이 상을 받은 후에도 계속 앞으로도 이렇게 외국에서 한국인을 자랑스럽게 할 수 있는 한국인 되도록 최대한 노력을 다할게요.
Shin's Korean Scholarship Trust has awarded scholarships to a total of 32 students since its establishment, passing forward what the trust members earned.
Our next story takes us to Germany. In the 1960s and 70s, young Korean nurses in their prime of youth were sent to Germany as guest workers. Recently, these now retired nurses were re-invited to Frankfurt in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of their first arrival in Germany. Let's take a closer look.
These women are stepping out, dressed in hanbok, or the traditional Korean costume. They were the first group of Korean nurses dispatched to Germany, arriving on January 31st, 1966. They gathered at Frankfurt City Hall's Emperor's Hall, where receptions for important dignitaries are usually held, and sang the Korean national anthem. 50 years later, under the invitation of the German government, the nurses returned to the same place once again. After spending their prime of youth in Germany, the now elderly and retired nurses reunited and shed tears of happiness.
그래서 너무너무 반가워서 눈물이 날라 그래요. 예, 정말입니다.
해외 나와서도 50년이 되도록 건강하게 잘 지내니까 너무 감사합니다.
About 10,000 nurses were dispatched to Germany as guest workers from 1966 to 1976. The nurses had to fight homesickness while living in a foreign land. They look at photos of the past and reminisce about their youth.
밤에 전화가 울리잖아요. 그럼 제일 겁이 나는 게 전화가 울리면. 왜냐면 혹시 내가 못 알아들을까 봐. 나 혼자밖에 없는데 밤에.
Former physician Lee Soo-gil, an advocate for Korean nurses in Germany, attended the reunion as well. Lee, who was working at a German hospital in the 1960s, sent out requests for hiring Korean nurses to 10 German hospitals and met with hospital officials, playing a major role in placing Korean nurses in German hospitals.
간호사들을 이름을 다 알고 있고 얼굴도 다 알고 있고 왜냐하면 요건 수속을 내가 해줬으니까요 다. 그런데 그 사람들이 다시 50년 후에 다시 만나자는 거는 저한테도 영광이고.
Es war eine Rettung für uns. Und sie haben hervorragend gearbeitet. Sie waren fleißig, zuverlässig, immer einsatzbereit. Aber ich weiß,
most of the nurses have retired, and a few members of the last nurses to be dispatched are still working. The nurses will always remain in our memories for sacrificing themselves in order to pave the way for Korea's modernization.
Moving on to our next story. At the 2016 Singapore Air Show, one of the world's top 3 air shows and held in February this year, The Korean Air Force's Black Eagles aerobatic team stole the show with their mesmerizing performances. The team's reception even rivaled that of K-pop stars. Let's catch some high-flying highlights.
This is Singapore's Changi International Airport, the venue for this year's Singapore Air Show, the largest in Asia. Given its global status, locals and foreign visitors alike flock to the airport grounds. The Singapore Air Show is an exhibition ground for the aerospace industry. Of all the participants, the Korean Air Force's Black Eagles aerobatic team gets the biggest nod. This year marked the team's second visit following its debut appearance in 2014, and the pilots were welcomed like K-pop stars.
I watched the previous air show and I find it very amazing, so I came over for the second time to watch the Black Eagles performance, and it was very awesome seeing the formation.
The Black Eagles prepare for takeoff amid great excitement. The 8 fighter jets move in unison and showcase group maneuvers as exact as K-pop choreography. The jets move close enough to crash and then fly away in a line. The audience members cannot hide their awe. The exciting performance comes to a fantastic end with a large taeguk symbol, like that on the Korean flag.
How they get it all right on the timing, and well, it's completely awesome how they do it. It's amazing. It's like the best thing ever.
The roughly 1,000 aerospace-related companies who took part in the air show showed great interest in the Black Eagles. Their interest stems from how aerobatics require not only excellent piloting, but also excellent jet performance.
저는 항공기는 제일 중요한 게 저희가 생각하기에 제일 중요한 거는 안정성이거든요. 이 8대가 같이 붙어서 비행을 하는데 항공기가 안정되지 못하면 이렇게 비행을 할 수가 없습니다. 그 비행하는 것 자체만으로도 이 항공에 대해서 아시는 전문가들이나 그런 분들은 저 항공기가 좀 우수한 항공기겠구나 이렇게 생각을 하고.
The Korean Air Force predicts that the recent aerobatics performance will generate more global interest in Korea's homegrown supersonic jet.
Our last story today takes us to New York. The neighborhood of Harlem in New York City is known for its high crime rate and poor educational environment. A Korean teacher is teaching the children there Korean and Confucianism, and her efforts have borne fruit. Let's meet Lee Jung-jin there and take a closer look.
This is Democracy Prep Charter High School, located in Harlem, New York. There are no Asian students in this school, let alone Koreans, but Korean can be heard from the classroom. Korean language classes are mandatory here. All students must take 4 years of Korean language classes in order to graduate. Korean language teacher Lee Jung-jin is eager to help out anyone having difficulties. Lee played a major role in making Korean language part of the core curriculum.
정말 아무것도 없는 할렘에 와서 한국어 프로그램을 이 정도까지 만드셨다는 게 정말 제가 보기에는 놀라운 따름이에요.
The school started offering Korean language classes in 2009. Based on the recommendation of the principal, who had spent some time in Korea, Korean became one of the 5 foreign languages, including Spanish and French, taught in the school. At that time, Lee was hired solely based on her Korean heritage, and she had to create the Korean language curriculum from scratch. After barely putting together a curriculum, Lee faced opposition from students and parents. To them, learning a language of a small Asian nation seemed like a waste of time.
한국이란 나라가 어디 있는지도 모르고 그냥 아시아 쪽이라고 대충 알고 있었던 때였기 때문에 이렇게 반응이 썩 아이들이 호응도가 높진 않았어요.
The Korean classes initially began with little interest, but as the months passed, students and parents began to think differently. They were moved by Lee's approach to the language as a means of teaching Korean spirit and Confucian philosophy. Following the implementation of Korean language classes, the college acceptance rate for graduating students hit close to 100%, establishing the school as New York's best-known high school.
She has a very strong personality and is very adventurous and fun with students, but they also know you don't play around in this classroom. You're going to get work done and you're going to work the hardest you've ever worked in a class.
Lee also provides consultation to schools that hope to emulate Democracy Prep Charter High's success and implement Korean language classes.
그 첫 해 때 정말 한국어 이걸 어떻게 해야 되나 그래서 아이들하고 막 실갱이 전쟁을 하면서 했던 수업인데 지금은 아이들이 즐거워하고 이제 매니아가 생기고 이제 이렇게 되는 게 참 큰 발전을 했구나.
Lee Jung-jin conveys the Asian spirit and outlook on the world through Korean language classes, and her efforts have opened a new door for the students of Harlem, New York.
I hope you enjoyed today's stories on Going Global. At the beginning of a new semester, children fill their pencil cases with brand new, neatly sharpened pencils. As the semester progresses, these pencils become too short to use and get lost in the classrooms. A company has breathed new life into pencils with an interesting idea by attaching a capsule holding seeds to the end of a pencil. That way, when a pencil is no longer usable, it can be planted and watered. These green pencils have been riding a wave of popularity in the United States and United Kingdom. The pencils come with 20 variations of seeds, including mint, tomato, pepper, basil, and rosemary. It gives a new meaning to an everyday item, and maybe you will also discover or see something very familiar in a new light this week. Going Global will be back next week with more exciting and interesting stories from all around the world. Thank you for watching.